How are you? I'm good. We had lots of snow here in Calgary over the weekend, and the sun's finally coming out, so maybe it can melt away. Kind of purified things. Jumping right in, let's talk about what is the separation. We use it quite often, and I'm not sure people are truly aware how separated we are. So, if we talk from the human perspective, starting from the bottom, to exist as a human and to be a part of Source, or the One, or the All, or the Collective, or whatever you want to call it, we had to make a choice. We had to be in the choice of being separated so we could have an experience that was not from the One, but it was from the One as the whole. And now all of a sudden this One is now you separated from your God self, having a human experience in a human avatar body, having an experience of density, because density could not exist unless there's a container to contain it. And that's where the Earth is, the realm of this planet, where we have created a container that we can explore all facets, light and dark. And as you can see, some of the darker facets kind of got out of control. The light facets are growing and they're learning, and they've held the container for us so that we can start to get back to balance, where light and dark is known, and human people or the avatars that we have here are able to step into their full power. So imagine this. We have all these terms: God, Source, One, anything that kind of denotes a higher universe, which exists. There's many facets of God and Source out there, and you're just one of them. And we had to choose to find a way to be separated so that we could create a unique facet of God, which is the self, or the I am, or those things. And we've been able to do that in a human experience. We created something called the ego when we came and we separated from our God self, and that veiled us. It made us able to contain a fragment of the God self, or a fractal, or whatever. There's lots of terms for it, and then have an experience. And before we came into this experience and we got completely veiled of our full knowledge and awareness of the universe, we designed a task for ourselves, a journey. And in this journey, a lot of people are going through a lot of really deep, dense stuff, but so that we could rise through the density, have the experience of the density right to its bottom, have it smash us and crash us and addict us and attack us and other things. And then we got to have this contraction where we were about as far away from a God self or somebody that was in power as possible. And we got to be there, and we got to sit there, and we got to experience it. And then something beautiful happened. We started to feel the compression, the contraction, to the point that there was nothing left to give. We gave everything to the universe. We gave away all of our energy, all of our self, all of our power. We became a complete and total victim. And then we had the journey of rising up. We had the journey of self-awareness, where we could see the choices we'd made, or the experiences we had, or the programming that we got from our parents, our family, from society, from government. There's a million different places that smushed us. And we got that fullest feeling of density. We maybe wanted to die. We maybe wanted to yell and scream. Maybe we wanted to hurt somebody, or did hurt somebody. And then we got to rise up the other side. We got to see through new eyes, new awareness, not ones of God and experience that's just like loving of everything, but one of judgment, of contraction, of fear, of doubt, of uncertainty, of unawareness, of all these things. How else could you get that? If you were a part of God and everything you wanted instantly manifest, and you had no idea the difference between density and openness and dark and light, would you really be a full facet that's in its full power? No, you wouldn't be. That's why people come to have the human experience. They test themselves. They go through it all so that they can take their full power back. And once they regain that balance and awareness of themselves, of how dark and darkness creates and comes within us, it's all part of ourselves. And I did a beautiful post today about how really darkness is just a demented form of love. How many times have we had narcissistic parents, or they were too controlling and we've had to work through those things, and then we sat with it and rose above it and all this kind of stuff. But once you really get to be aware of it and fully understand the reasons why it was created, it was a form of love. Their parents were like that to them, and that's the only way that they felt love. And then they projected that upon us, and then we had to make a choice. Do we want to continue in that closed off, kind of controlling kind of love, or they're stealing love because they didn't get it from their parents? And now we're forced to make a choice and say, okay, I love myself, but I'm not going to be that way, and I'm not going to propagate this. And then you make this new form of love, which is purified. It takes out the need for pleasing. It takes out the need for giving ourselves to somebody else. We're all distilling through this now. So now all of a sudden love becomes something very different. It becomes an awareness of the confusion, awareness of the crossed wires, the inversion, the matrix that was created around this to keep the inversion happening, just propagated each generation into the next with these lies or these misunderstandings of what love really is. When I went through my own journeys on this kind of stuff, I saw those people that I thought were narcissists and other things, and I got to see them as they were just scared little children underneath. The narcissist is a learned reaction. If you've got a parent or a family member that's a narcissist and they keep gaslighting you and they've perfected going around behind and stuff like this, you eventually call it dark, you call it negative, that they're doing something, but it's just the childish inner child reaction of not having it for themselves, and they're now trying to take it without having to have agreements with people or boundaries or other things. The narcissism is an inverted form of trying to love the self, but at all costs to everyone else. We start to see that the love around us, the things we're calling darkness, are inverted forms of love. Somebody that's controlling the world or hurting children or whatever somehow has justified in that inner child that their needs are more important than everyone else's, and then they dehumanize people and they make them livestock almost. And we're now seeing that this inverted, perverted form of love is still love. It's them crying for help to try and be loved or be seen or prove to their parents or prove to the world or prove to whatever. And as we start to see that, and we start to see the facets of ourselves that had forms of that, maybe not as dense, maybe not as scary or perverted, we can start to see it. And instead of running from it or demonizing it or wanting to kill it or destroy it, we can start to accept those facets that you can identify with and just love it and say, okay, yeah, that's it. Doesn't mean go up and forgive them and not make them accountable for their actions, but does it mean that we have to cut their heads off or hang them or hurt them or harm them or have war with them? No, we just open up and say, okay, I'm aware. I now know why this pain and suffering and where that demented version of self-love came from, and I'm going to love it, and I'm going to shine light at these people. And what we're going to find out, as enough people shine light into them, their hearts are going to open, and they're going to start to see the error of their ways. They're going to see and learn from this demented level of trying to self-love themselves by hurting and harming everyone around themselves. It's a very deep process. But to fight them, to get angry at them, to want to hit them, to want to harm them, to want to whatever, just shows that we still have some darkness towards that love. And it's like I said, it's a perverted form of love, but is it darkness? When you get to the bottom of it and you unwind all the actions that they've done, you're going to find out they were just trying to love themselves and they had a hurt, wounded little child inside. Even a rape or one of these very violent crimes came from some demented version of lack. Like, oh, I need to fulfill myself, so I'm going to take it from a woman. I need to whatever. I need to take money from someone, so I'm going to go beat them up in the alley or shoot them or whatever. It's like, to love myself, I must do harm, is what the brain has been fooled into. And it's not true. It's the darkness. There's love in everything. It's just the versions of love. And once they're twisted into self-serving and like woundedness, where we don't feel that we're worthy and these kind of things, do you think the world's going to give you the money that you need, or it's going to force you to take and steal and whatever? Is that the person's fault? Does a child grow up that way without any outside influence, or did that come from their parents? Did it come from a system? Did it come from the way society judges certain people, the way sexuality is shamed and guilted? These are all things that make people do things out of lack, of need, of depravity, of frustration. So now as we start to become aware that these things are different than we thought, then a magic starts to happen. Things start to unwind, and then all of a sudden they open to possibility and open to these things. Do you think if you hate yourself, or you think you're dark, or whatever, does love come in any other way? Can you have a relationship? Can you play with someone? Can you have fun if you think you're hurting people, or that's all you're worthy of? This is the bind that people are stuck into, the inversion that now I can't get it. I tried and it broke, but there's a place where you can say, no, I'm worthy of more. I'm better. I don't have to take. I don't have to steal. I don't have to hurt. I don't have to control people. I can start to have my needs met by being open, by being loving, and seeing what happens. So look at the inversion. Look at what's going on around you. Look at, are you part of the whole? Yes, our journey is back to the part of the whole, to being of a collective love, a collective being back to our facets of God, or at least recognizing that we are a facet, and then starting to bring into our sovereignty that higher awareness, that God self, that God knowledge, that God intuition, all those kind of things. We can start to be a facet that it flows through us, but I'm still a Paul. I still have a blue shirt on and brown eyes, and I have a beard and a little bald or whatever. We bring it as our unique facet. And by our knowing of all the experiences of density that we've had in our life, we weren't wounded, we weren't harmed by them. We were shaped, we were polished, we were brought into the light by. Those are the things. So being part of the whole is the journey, the ascension, the awareness that everything is available to us. We were never lacking. We were never harmed. We were never hurt. We were polished. We were pushed. We were ground into the ground, sometimes we're going to call it, to just see how dense it can go, so that eventually we made a choice. And once you've been your darkest dark, you can also know your lightest light. And then you find a spot in the middle, balancing like the yin and the yang. And then you are truth. You are love. You are reflection. You hold people in their pain and sorrow, and you reflect for them, even though they don't like it. We don't run from it. We don't smash people. We don't hurt people. If you're having to do that and it's really violent, look inside. Why was that? Why did they scare me? Why did I have to block them? Why did this get messy? Why did whatever? And you're going to find out there's all reasons in everything. So sit with that. Breathe with it. It's pretty deep stuff. But it's all within your power. It's all within your self-love. And the magic starts to happen as we let it in. So I love you. You have a good day. Talk to you soon.